now we're going to talk about, I'm putting this back. What do I do now? How do I get started? How do I get my pictures on here? Well, honestly, to begin with, it's going to be really trial and error. So you're going to have to remember to save some of these things because you don't have a lot of time in your class period to do it. So I've got my value poster up here. I'm going to go back to Bridge. And in Bridge, you should have done a couple things. Number one, you should have batch renamed all your photos. I named all mine value because that was the element that I was doing. Then I should have made a contact sheet, and I have my contact sheets here, and I do have all 30 photos. It's actually 2 of these. If I were to open it up, there's 2 of them. So I put all the photos on one. So I did 5 columns and 3 rows for that. Then I'm going to decide what I want to have on there, and I've got a lot of value things. I've got some creatures or things that are like earthy, but then I also have a lot of these things that are very industrial looking, drills and things that I went over to Mr. Rousey's room and did, and I've got quite a few of them. So I've got some of them are repeats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 decent ones that I think I'm going to use for this project. And I changed all mine to black and white because, like I said, I was going to do value. I might throw another one together. I've got some other photos that I really kind of like for this, but I'm going to do value for this one. So what I want to do is I want to sort of look at my photos and decide whether I have any pieces that are particularly strong. So you could either highlight one of your photos to be as one of your largest ones, like you're seeing over here. Here's my macro posters actually highlighted. I started on one. Or I could keep them all the same size. If I wanted to keep them all the same size, then I would sort of have to do the math. I would have to, number one, pull more of these across because you want to leave this space in between as well. So you want to leave like 1/4 of an inch. So you are going to have to do math for this one. So if I wanted 3 equal ones, I would have to calculate this space, the space that's left here. In between here and here, and do the math and then divide it by 3, but I've got to also remember that I need, so maybe 3 photos could fit in there, 1, 2, 3, so I would have to subtract out a 1/2 inch out of that space as well, because there's going to be 1/4 of an inch between this one and then the top one. So it does require some math, and it's just basic math, so it's not like super terrible stuff. It's everyday math. So anyway, so I want to think about that. So really the first part of this is just sort of trial and error. So if I want to open something up, actually I have more than 5, I think. I kind of think this is a cool photo. So to open them up in Photoshop, you know that you can just click on these, and these are after the edits have been made. So I went through the editing process in Camera Raw. Don't edit in Photoshop. You want to edit here. And then I'm going to just open my image after I make those edits. Excuse me, and it will open up in Photoshop. Now, the first thing you need to know is you don't want to just drag these photos right in. Number one, when I first begin and I try to drag it, because you can just drag them right in here. If you get this message, could not use the move tool because the layer is locked. You just click OK and double click on that. That doesn't really matter what it says. Just click OK, and now you're unlocked. So I can physically drag this off. So just say, OK, I'm going to move this over to my poster. And I bring it over, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck? This is ginormous. So that's not what you want. So why is it so big? So let's look. So I'm going to go to image, and it's going to tell you some information about your pictures. Image size. Oh, well, here's why. It's 12 by 9. Now, my other poster was 11 by 14, but look at the resolution. So this picture is just the resolution alone. If I change this to 150 and didn't do anything else with it, it was twice the size in resolution, so it's still a ginormous picture. So it's still not the right size. So I'm just going to tell you this, that it's really trial and error about you getting the right size photos. You might decide that you want to crop all of your photos ahead of time. Maybe you want in here, maybe you want all squares, like you want, 3 squares here, 2 squares here, and then leave a space left over for the thing that you're going to write about. So I'm going to need to write about value in here. Or you might decide that you want to highlight one of your photos. So I'm going to go into here, image size, And I'm actually going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use my crop tool for this. So I'm going to just use a pre-constrained size. So I'm going to go to crop, and I'm going to choose something. Let's see what 4 by 5 looks like. It's not much smaller. 4 by 4. Okay. So it just gives you these. So now watch what if I use a pre-constrained size. So what I can do, I can make this smaller. So I can put this sort of in a location where I think it's going to look interesting. So let's say, go ahead. I'm gonna hit return, or actually I'll get my direct select tool, and it asks, do you want to crop this? I went back here and clicked on this tool. Yeah, I want to crop it. Okay, so now this is, if I look at the image and look at the size, and now remember, I know, if I go back to my crop tool, I just want you to understand this. I cropped it to 4 by 3, but yet when I go into my image and it says image size, it's 10.473 by 7.853. Why is that? Because this doesn't crop it to the size. This is a proportion. So if I were to multiply these numbers out, they would equal these image size numbers, okay? So this is just the proportion that it is. It's not necessarily 4 by 3, just so you understand that. All right, so let's try it. So I'm going to take this now and I'm going to drag it to my value poster. Still way too big. Okay. So this, like I said, it might be like, you know, trial and error. What if I just go in and I did that? So if I go to image size, this, by the way, this is super important here. See this little link here? It looks like a little chain link. If I unlink that, oh, I would actually have to do it down here. Constrained proportions. I can change these individually. This is super important that these stay constrained. At some point in time, we'll do a project where you unconstrain these. But if I put a 4 in here now and just hit OK, this is what it does, because I unconstrained my proportions. So I don't want to do that for this one. Image size. I'm going to make this 4. Oops, hold on. So I'll make this a 4. So it's basically 4 by 3. And now I'll take that back over to my poster and put that in here. So that's, you know, maybe a little bit too small, but you get the idea. So you're going to do that with each one. So I would go back to bridge, and maybe this would be the next one that I use. Open image, image size, and I change my resolution and my size. Let's try this as a 5 by 7. And now bring that one in. Okay, so you get the idea, and you're just going to trial and error, try to fit these things in here, leave room for your text.